you guys. Oh, hello, my loves. How are you? All right. The cool thing is, for decades now, we have been fantasizing about AI and robots. Think about this. Movies about intergalactic wars. Star Wars, right? Took robots. When we were thinking about overcoming loneliness, we turned to an AI in the movie Her. Or if we were worrying about machines coming to destroy humanity, we turned to machines to help us fight the machines in Terminator. We've always looked for that higher power, so to speak. But it's not just in fiction. We wanted to look at the power of AI and intelligent computing to help everyday problems. And it's not new. A lot of people are like, well, oh, this is all exciting and new and scary, and it's not been new. People have been dreaming about some of the ways to do this for over 3 decades now. I want to show you a video from the 90s. The 90s, you'll tell because of the fashion as well. And it's such a precursor to what we have now. So let's take a quick look. The first one is facial recognition.
As Robin arrives home from work, there's no more fumbling with keys because her motion starts the entry process. All Robin does is look into an eye scanner. She could also use a voice or fingerprint to be let in. Robin is recognized by the scanner. The front door unlocks and opens. Robin started dinner, but finds she's missing garlic, a key ingredient. So she brings up a map, which shows just where her husband Chris's car is at the moment. She wants him to stop and pick up the garlic. Using the home's name, she places a call using the home's networked communications.
Astro, call Chris in the car.
Old Cortana.
While cooking dinner, Robin sees they're out of a few other things. She scans them into an electronic shopping list, which will be sent via the internet to an online grocer who will schedule the delivery. Or she can just toss the empty items out. A connected wastebasket will add them to the shopping list.
The Internet of Things. All of this over 30 years ago. So how did we go from dreaming about something like this to launching Clippy? Anyone remember Clippy still? I actually admit it, I thought it was quite helpful, though maybe I'm in the minority. So why now? Why is all of this happening now? It's because of advances in technology. It's really because of cloud computing. What happens with cloud is that all of the data suddenly goes into one place. It's not stored across disparate servers or disparate computers actually connected to the net as it used to be many, many years ago. If everything's on the same place now, it's much easier to be able to scan and look at all of the different data and create the algorithms to find the relationships and the entities between all of them. And with that, we are finally getting truly intelligent AI. So let's quickly define AI, because there's people throw this term around so much, right? It's like the sexiest buzzword ever now. But all it is essentially is technology that can perceive, it can learn, it can reason, and help in decision-making to help us solve problems. It's really about augmenting our human intelligence as opposed to replacing it. And then just to clarify quickly, what's the difference between machine learning and AI? Well, really, AI is stochastic. It's really about these structures and connections, pretty much like your brain. It's all these like random connections and different layers. And machine learning is all about statistics. It's all about sort of reason and logic and just back and forth. It's very straight and direct. So those are the two completely different ways that they work. And together, what they are doing is that they're helping make search a lot more intelligent today. If we can take this capability, we suddenly become a lot more powerful. Let me give you this example. I think that one of the most important things that AI is helping search do is it's helping change it from simply being able to index all the content that exists on the web to being able to, using machine reading comprehension, using natural language understanding, to be able to understand the context of that content on the web and to be able to reason over it. Let's see it in action. I have an 11-year-old son who is completely into video games. He's completely addicted to Xbox, of course. And if I didn't yell at him significantly, he would probably spend his entire day in the basement playing video games. So we try to argue with him, and we're a pretty nerdy, data-driven family, so we're like, let's use data to back up our arguments. Because I'm telling him video games are really bad for you. He's like, no, Mom, they can be actually quite good for you. So we went and did searches to sort of reinforce our points. So my son did a search for, why are video games good for you? All the results he saw reinforced that point of view, showed me all the results that showed why are video games good for you. I did the exact opposite search, which said, are video games bad for you? What did I see? All the results showed me why video games are bad for me. This is the problem with just indexing the web. If you don't understand context, you don't understand reason, then you're providing an echo chamber experience. And we all know that's a big problem in our society today, right? If it's just matching based on keywords, then the results you get may match your keywords, but it may not be the best answer. So once AI comes in and sort of helps the engine understand it, you suddenly get better results like this. So now if I were saying that, hey, are they bad for you? You'll get both points of view. You decide. You're empowered to find the right point of view and make the right decision for you. That's huge. It's completely huge. It's breaking out those filter bubbles. It's breaking out of those echo chambers. It's really diversifying the different points of view you can get. Now, all right, that's all really cool, but how to make money? Well, let's talk PPC for a little bit first, then we'll go into SEO. Intelligent search really helps us a lot when it comes to targeting our audiences. If it's all about the intent and not so much about keywords, we can get full advantage of that. Because what do we do in PPC right now? We bid on a term, and if somebody does a search, or if they do a search for flights to Paris, we don't know when they're going. We don't know if they're just simply doing research, or are they really looking to book right now. But I would just show them the ad and be like, please, please, please click on my ad and come buy the ticket from me. But we don't know enough about what they're looking for. But we guess, and we hope we make the best of it. But what if we could really serve our ads really only to people whose intent we really understand? We can do that now because we can understand intent way better. So we find that search is becoming this sort of centerpiece of consumer engagement. Search is the place that knows all the different areas of people's lives. They know what type of searches we do. They know the different websites we visit. And I will talk about privacy in a second, so don't get worried about that just yet. It's actually not as scary as people might think. Now, we see a lot of this already with some of the machine learning-powered offerings, such as in-market audiences. Now, this is available on Google. It's available in the US, on Bing as well, and we're piloting it soon in the UK. Any of you running in-market on either search engine? OK, a couple of hands. All right. So I'll explain it quickly for those of you who may not be sure about it. All this is, so an in-market audience is essentially a group of people that are in the market to buy something. So they would be the ones who have displayed enough interest, according to the predictive analytics models, that include not just search history, but different website browsing history across, so for Microsoft, across our own properties, Google across their own. And they will identify that somebody's in the market to buy. So if I was a seller of car insurance, I would rather show my ad to somebody who has been shown to be interested in buying car insurance. It's a match. I can reach somebody when it's relevant to them. And it works. It's common sense, of course, right? You showed an ad to somebody who's interested in it, it will do better. How much better? These are our latest numbers across all verticals. When you show ads to people with an in-market audience, they see a 28% higher click-through rate and a 48% higher conversion rate. And this is really common across all different verticals that we can see. It's huge. Now, with this addition of AI, I want to give you a sneak peek into something we announced in Seattle by our corporate vice president just a couple of weeks ago. So it's so new. It's something that's called the Microsoft Audience Network. So it's coming out later this year, ideally. Don't hold me on that, to Europe. It's still in really super early pilots right now. Now, what's the number one question you guys would ask anybody who worked at Microsoft after you heard we bought LinkedIn? When can we target LinkedIn? Yes. Well, we can still take some of the LinkedIn data now. So what this graph does is it uses AI, because look, AI can crunch all of that data way faster than any human could or any sort of existing system would. Machines are just really good at data. That's what they do. So if we looked at people's purchase history, their sort of brand preferences, the domain preferences that they went to, tie that in with some of their professional data, you get a far more detailed insight into who they are and what they're likely to buy. I mean, it's one of those reasons why we saw early success on Facebook with custom audiences and audience marketing on Facebook. You just know more about the person, and you can, the more insights you have, the better you can market and the better you can target them. So of course, back to the question on, but what about privacy? What about GDPR? Like, does the marketer's goal of getting more insights completely conflict with the consumer's desire for more privacy? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to. As long as the advertiser, whomever it may be here, is really careful about how they manage your data, it doesn't. So for example, LinkedIn and Microsoft, both, they won't group people in smaller than 300 groups of people, whereas some of our competition will do groups of 20 or 100. So it's just more anonymized when it's slightly larger group. There's never any personally identifiable information, PII, stored. And we never store anything related to anything sensitive, like race or political beliefs or anything like that. It's never stored, never tracked. So it's been something that has been built in from the system even before it was cool to talk about it. Let's look at what it could mean. That's my audience. You, looking at them, you'd never know who they are. I could say that this is a male who is age 33. They live in New York at the zip code 10036. They work at Microsoft as a sales manager, and their salary is between X and Y. And they are really into Harley Davidson. They have been looking at everything about the Russian World Cup. They have been looking at things like data roaming packages. So if I was Verizon or Orange or AT&T or whichever cell phone company, for me, I might be able to want to target this person because I know they're super interested in the World Cup. We know where they live. We know how much they make. We should target them with sort of some cool international roaming packages for going to the World Cup. But again, we don't know anything about who this person is. We'd never be able to flag them down on the street if we saw them walking, right? It's totally anonymized, but still so much more beneficial for advertisers to reach that. So essentially, you have these little ads that you can reach across the journey as you know what they're doing. And there's never been a better time to shift to audience marketing, no matter what platform you're using, right? This is not just, look, just your Microsoft. It's Google, Facebook, everything. Go to audiences. Less keywords, more audiences, because you can focus on what really counts. It's about the people. And you can reach them at the right time and the right place when they're really looking. And it's not just us saying that. Research shows that more than half of digital advertisers want to increase their spend on audience marketing this year. Plus, you can track all the results easily, quickly, efficiently. It works. So if I had to give you a quick checklist for what you should do, try to look at putting on in-market, your custom audiences, your remarketing. Keep an eye out for when MSAN is going to launch in the UK. And layer these different audiences on into your existing campaigns for the win. All right, Purna, enough PPC. All right, let's go to SEO. Another really, really cool thing that I love is that it's being able to understand different inputs. You can talk to it, you can share pictures, it will respond back to you in terms of images. So if I did searches for things like Hey, the Olympics. You get a lot more pictorial results now on both search engines. It makes it a lot easier for us to scan things to find the answer we're looking for. Or if I was looking for the Oscar winners now, you'll get to see actual pictures of the people who've won. So much easier to scroll through. It's giving you results because people are really engaging well with these visuals, but you can also search by images. And if everyone's like, well, how many people actually search by images? Quite a lot. According to jump shot data, which was published by Rand Fishkin on SparkToro, 22.6% of people will click on Google Images. That's a huge percentage of search. We see a good amount of clicks that go on Bing as well. We just don't share the numbers. Now, one of the really, really cool opportunities for discovery is searching within an image. Pinterest did this earlier on when they had Shop the Look. I talked about it at Brighton SEO last year. But something newer at Bing is that you can search within an image. So let's say I'm looking at this picture of the beautiful actress Marion Cotillard, and I am trying to wonder, like, oh, I love her necklace. I wonder where she got it from. I can simply mouse over the image, and I can click on that little black circle that goes on top of the necklace, and it will go ahead and show me similar necklaces, so I can click on the website to buy. And just in the US at the moment, it will show you the price as well below it. So it'll do both. Right now, you will still be able to find out in Europe. You can still go ahead and find similar ones, and if you can click on it, it takes you to the site where you can buy. So for example, when I was looking at this, I found something for like $10 on Amazon. I'm like, great. She probably didn't pay that $10, she paid more, but I can get a discount. Now, is that an ad offering or is that an organic listing? What do you guys think? Everyone always assumes it's paid. It is not paid. It's not paid at all. It is all organic. It's simply pulling this data from the product feed that is already uploaded into the search engine. So if you're ever looking for more reasons to sort of optimize your product image feed, this is it. It's just another option to show up in the image discovery section as well. So a few things I would say for image search optimization is, of course, do your good old SEO tactics for image optimization that truly haven't changed in years. Overall SEO has changed, but the stuff you do to images has not. Optimize your feed as well. Make sure you're doing some structured data around your images as well. That helps. It helps give us a lot more information. And also consider putting up an XML image sitemap. We found that to be helpful as well. The other way, the different input that it takes is, of course, conversational. And when we think conversational, we're like, voice search, awesome. And then we go ahead and look at all of these stats about adoption rates, which say that 56.3 million speakers to ship in 2018, and we get so excited. And to that, I say, curb your enthusiasm a little bit. Curb your expectations as well, a little bit. Now, a lot of the expectations we have in our head come from these movies like Her, like I talked about earlier, or Star Trek, where you can talk to the computer and do things. Hollywood puts a lot of false expectations into our head. I mean, it can even tell us that a woman can be on a deserted island for 4 years and still remain smooth and hairless for life. Doesn't happen, sadly. The reality is, 70% of consumers have never used voice search to search or shop for products. It's just not what it's used for right now. If we looked at what voice search is most commonly used for right now, it's simple informational tasks. It's looking for a quick fact. It's asking a quick question. What's the capital of Spain? How many minutes should I boil an egg for it to be soft-boiled? It's things like that. And we also find at Bing that the percentage of voice search share is really low if we think about search in the traditional sense. Voice is more about getting things accomplished as opposed to really searching to find brands and shop. So what should you do? Should you give up all hope? No, absolutely not. We're still going in that direction. We're getting trained to use voice a lot better. A big reason that we don't use voice a lot more is twofold. One, the technology still needs to be improved. You still talk to it. There's still some errors, even though we've gotten really close. The second reason is we're still not fully adapted to it yet. We wouldn't use voice if we were in the office in front of people. Like, would you do that? No. If you were out to dinner with friends, you probably wouldn't just whip out the phone unless it was something you guys were all looking at to talk to it. We're getting used to it. But we are very trainable. If we think about how many photographs we would take a year before we got the cameras in our cell phones, so few. And now we take about 1 million a day. We're very trainable. We'll get there. So for now, all you need to do is do what's best for SEO anyway. Because the biggest question I get is like, is there a different index for voice search results as it is for the text results? No, there's not. It's the same index. The only difference is what and how much shows up. So let's look at an example. If I had to say, hey, Cortana, what's the capital of Spain? She'll be like, it's Madrid. She'll pull it up quickly from the knowledge base. But if I had to ask her a question which had multiple correct answers, such as, what's the best rock band of all time? Now, I bet you 500 pounds that your answer and your answer will be completely different, right? So what's Cortana gonna do? Get into a debate with me about, no, Purna, really Led Zeppelin's the best rock band of all time. I'm like, no, it's not. No, she'll let you decide. She'll bring up the SERPs. So very often you actually do get the regular SERPs as well. What she does pull from, though, which is different, are the featured snippets. So if I looked at a regular search on what sells best on Etsy, and a featured snippet showed up, that would be the answer that Cortana would give me. So if you earn the featured snippets, and if a featured snippet exists for that answer, then Cortana is going to read it out as the one true answer. So in that case, if you wanted to pay attention, you should do that just to optimize more for voice. Cortana has had over 18 billion questions asked of her in the last few years. And the other thing to think about are the descriptor tokens. So if you wanted to expand your keywords a little bit, think about adding descriptors like best, top, price, where, nearest, anything like that. If it made sense for you, you'd want to think about that. That's a list of our top descriptor tokens that we find people use most often. So the other things that you should do, again, don't go crazy. Don't invest a lot of your time in voice search per se, because it's still small. But do the things that help SEO anyway, and that will still help you with voice. So things like structured data, things like answering questions, looking at people also ask for ideas about questions, as well as clues as to who has the featured snippets. And also look at your local listings. Make sure you're submitting to both business listings, actually all three. If you're on Apple, submit to the Apple Maps, submit to Bing Maps, submit to Google Maps. And then their individual assistants will be able to pull up your business listing for a local listing. So it's really important to do that. So what happens to those more complicated tasks, those back and forth, the personal appointments, the ordering food for delivery, all of that? That happens not with voice just yet. It happens, or not with search per se, it happens with bots. So whether a chatbot or whether using a skill, which is like a voice-powered bot that is tied to a digital assistant, that's where the money is. For example, if my colleague Alan was trying to go ahead and buy shoes and he absolutely hates shopping, then for him it would be super easy to use a chatbot. Look at this. What these chatbots do is that they shave off time and reduce the number of steps in every interaction. And this is why they're getting used a lot more. It's typing, it's using an interface that you already know. There's no learning curve for this. So this is why people want to use it. So let's look at this example. Alan wants to go ahead and buy a pair of shoes, but he's not sure which ones to buy. So he'll go ahead and interact with the shoe store and scroll through the different options. And he gets a little overwhelmed by choice. He'll poke around a couple of them, but he's just not sure what works. He doesn't like choosing things. It's inefficient. He just wants something that will match the shirt he wants to wear. So he'll upload that photo. And the bot is smart enough to track the sort of keywords and the image SEO and to like understand the image, and will come back with something that it thinks will match. But Alan's not a formal guy. He said, okay, you know what? I like these shoes, but I want something more casual. It goes back and finds him something more casual. So much easier, so much more efficient, and then they figure out how he can buy it. Bots are great because they actually work. You don't have to learn anything new. They save you a ton of time, And it's engaging. And best of all, you build the bot one time, and you can connect it to a dozen plus different places. So if your audience is on Slack and Facebook, you put this bot on Slack and Facebook. It's just the same code. You can just connect it to different places. And the coolest use of bots, actually, that I've seen is come from banner ads. How many of us really love banner ads and look at them all the time? Said nobody ever. But IBM Watson actually piloted this a couple of years ago, where they took ads and added the Watson capability to it and made them conversational. So I could talk to that ad. So if that was an ad about Toyota Prius, I could ask it questions such as, will I get a tax refund for buying this car? And then most recently, Emirates, the airline company, tested this ad on sites such as the New York Times, where you could actually chat with the ad within the ad. And they were targeted for 4 cities in Europe. So if the article was talking about, say, something about Milan, the ad would show up there. And you could ask it about travel packages to Milan. So if I said, oh, I'm going to travel with my husband and my son, what's family friendly? It would give me answers right there. It's all about making sort of what exists and it's irrelevant, relevant again. It's hugely powerful. So again, let's recap. We've looked at a lot of stuff. I know we're running out of time. If I had to say the 3 biggest things I would say I want you to think about before you leave is your better understanding of your audience that we can get from AI leads to a lot better options for personalization, of tailoring the ad to something that will really resonate with people. You can also expand your reach via audience targeting. If you're relying just on something like remarketing, then you're only relying on people who have visited your website before. But what about all of the people who may want to buy from you but may not have considered you or known about you? And then, of course, you can focus on conversational interactions much more so versus just voice search. Just do what's best for SEO for voice and see how you can engage your customers through that. So I'll leave you with the last line that if you've ever watched the video from Common, he says that right now we have more power at our fingertips than entire generations that came before us. The question is, what will you do with this? So thank you guys so much.